Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Leaseholders at 8 Artillery Row pay an average £2,000 in service charges each month, while managing agent Avon Ground Rent Limited refused to disclose what is included in these charges or provide invoices. One of these said charges was £30,000 for legal and professional fees, requested without explanation or detail, despite leaseholders reasonably asking for information for over 2 years. Leaseholders in Neville House in Westminster are living in a cladding nightmare. Although Westminster City Council issued a hazard awareness notice on this building, no remedial works have been undertaken, as their managing agent, Estate and Management Limited, has failed to agree with the developers, Berkeley Homes, on the terms of a survey licence. As a result, these homes are unsellable. Leaseholders of Blake Tower on the Barbican estate are living in a building with ongoing fire safety issues, which the developer, Redrow, committed to dealing with, but has yet to undertake the necessary inspections. They also have such serious building defects that has resulted in several flats being unlivable in. The local authority, the Corporation of London, shares my concerns and that of the constituents and understand that they are about to take action. These are just a few examples, Mr Deputy Speaker, of the appalling behaviour undertaken by freeholders in my constituency. And I have been contacted by countless numbers of leaseholders who report routinely appalling practices over service charges, the cost of major works, and the extortionate charges they face when renewing their leases, often facing a wall of silence from freeholders and their agents when requesting information or explanation. Extortionate is properly the correct word, as often it is little more than extortion some freeholders and their accomplices, including managing agents, lawyers and accountants, are involved in. These freeholders should instead be described as freeloaders. Mr Deputy Speaker, the Leasehold and Freehold Reform Bill responds to the concerns raised by so many of my constituents. For example, Clause 27 aims to make service charges more transparent, ending the practices of too many freeholders demanding unexplained service charges, often used just to profit off leaseholders. The introduction of a standardised form for freeholders requesting service charges from their leaseholders is certainly welcome news, but I would like to see more detail on what information will need to be disclosed and how much warning a freeholder will have to give leaseholders regarding costs. Mr Deputy Speaker, too many of my constituents have told me that they choose not to take their landlords to tribunal as they could be liable for their huge legal fees, even if the leaseholder wins. And therefore I welcome the new measures under Clause 34, which responds to this concern and ensures leaseholders will no longer be liable for those costs. I also welcome the bill's overhauling previous legislation and increasing the standard lease extension term for houses and flats by 990 years and reduce ground rent to a peppercorn upon payment of a premium, ensuring leaseholders can enjoy secure, ground rent-free ownership of their own properties without the hassle and expense of repeated lease extensions. Mr Deputy Speaker, another game changer in the bill is the commitment to removing marriage value. For far too long, leaseholders have been at the mercy of their freeholder and the freeholder's agents and have faced some questionable practices when wanting to extend their leases. This bill makes it cheaper and easier for leaseholders to extend their lease or buy their freehold. It removes the requirement to pay marriage value, capping the treatment of ground rents at 0.1% of the freehold value in the calculation and prescribing rates for the calculation. Mr Deputy Speaker, Clause 22 of the bill sets out to increase the non-residential limit of a block from 25% to 50% to secure the right to manage and enfranchisement, meaning that more blocks which are of mixed residential and commercial property will have the right to manage and right to buy the freehold. However, there still leaves the requirement for 50% of the leaseholders in a block to agree to go ahead with the right to manage. And due to the unique nature of the cities of London and Westminster, this could prove near impossible for many of my constituents. Over 1,300 properties in the City of London and a staggering 12,100 in Westminster have owners living abroad or are owned by companies using central London's golden postcodes as a place to park their cash. So whilst my constituents and I warmly welcome the government's intention to support leaseholders who want to manage their blocks, achieving the 50% of signatories required for right to manage in my constituency will prove very difficult. If the proposed legislation is going to achieve what the government hopes it will for constituencies like mine, I would ask that the Minister consider making the thresholds more flexible. Perhaps by stating 50% of signatories should be made up from leaseholders of apartments which are their main home, rather than an investment. Or to reduce the threshold for right to manage to 35% of leaseholders. I would welcome welcome further discussions with the Minister on this point. And I would like to take this opportunity, Mr Deputy Speaker, to thank the member for North East Derbyshire for meeting me and my leasehold reform working group, made up of constituents dealing with some of the most egregious freeholders in the constituency. The 50% threshold was discussed in some detail with the Minister at the meeting. Mr Deputy Speaker, another area of huge concern for leaseholders is the cost of major works and estate management charges. I have lost count of the number of constituents who have contacted me for help regarding these issues. For example, Golden Lane estate in the city, where leaseholders are being asked to pay tens of thousands of pounds extra because the freeholder, the Corporation of London, is 20 years behind schedule. Russell House and Churchill Gardens, both in Pimlico, where residents are failing to secure details on timings and costs from Westminster City Council. Time and time again, I receive complaints from constituents living in private and social blocks that while they appreciate they have to pay for major works and repairs, they want the freeholder, whether it's a private company or whether it's a local authority, to be open and transparent about costs. I therefore welcome clause 40 of this bill, providing more transparency in major work costs. Similar to service charge expenses, landlords will have to fill out a standardised form to demonstrate exactly how the leaseholders' money will be spent and to ensure that the works are carried out to a certain standard. Mr Deputy Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the incredible work of Harry Scoffin, the founder of Free Leasehold, whose support and technical knowledge has been invaluable to me and my constituents regarding this bill. And I welcome this bill and look forward to working with the Minister and my constituents to ensure that we end the many questionable practices of some freeholders and that we ensure the leasehold and freehold system in this country is open, transparent and fair.